Welcome in, guys. I'm back with another update. So today I'm going to jump in. I just got everything set up on Tabletop Simulator. I just uploaded all my cards and whatever. I just did this, finished up doing this today. I was a little busy this last week. Tree fell on my power line that goes to my house. So my dad came over, helped me cut the tree. My brother works for the power company, called some people over and whatever. So it's a bit of a debacle. So I didn't have as much time to get all this stuff set up as I would have wanted. So I just finished this morning. So I've been watching some YouTube videos on how to even use Tabletop Simulator. I had it. I was going to use it to run D&D like a long time ago just because I thought it was cool. I've been on here, but not enough to really know what was going on. So I just watched a few YouTube videos, figured out sort of how some of this stuff works. And I'm going to literally playtest for the first time to have as authentic of an experience as possible. I mean, this is going to be a disaster, so whatever. I just figured at least maybe you guys would want to see how it goes. So the way I see turn order going, I guess just to say in the spirit of the 2d20 system, both players will roll their d20s. I guess just go with the highest. 17 beats 13. So this side that I'm on will go first. For the sake of just this, I'm going to say, so generally in a turn, you're going to have the ability to pick two actions per turn. So one action would be to draw an event card, which would be like adventuring. I've talked about this, but so say you're going to adventure, then you're going to pick your event cards or whatever. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's other options. So you can go to the shop, you can go to the priest to heal or cure poison and other things like that. Yeah, so there's going to be multiple options. For this, I'm just going to have one action per turn and just have it be switching, just drawing the event cards, picking one, doing the action, and then, changing the turn and just see kind of how it goes. So yeah, this one will go first. I'm going to draw 3 because I want to do combat, just because I want to see what it's like. Looks like I have Risky Gambler, which is risk all your gold, roll a basic interaction, which is just rolling 2d20 without adding a modifier. So I'm adding sort of a new element to the game, which is an absolute success, which is rolling higher on both. Partial success, which is higher on the highest, like winning the higher roll, like your higher is higher than their higher, but losing the lower roll, and then partial failure and an absolute failure. So obviously, partial failure being losing the higher roll, winning the lower roll, and then absolute being losing both. Just so there's if there's certain cards that come up, I can sort of, so like with the gambling one, I have absolute success would be doubling your gold. Partial success would be gold back plus half of whatever you risked. Partial failure, losing half of the risk gold, and then absolute failure, losing all the gold. Sort of having that. So the way I see the interaction system is that it's almost like, so like for combat, the first one's accuracy and the second one is how well did that resolve. But in terms of like a social interaction, like the first one would be, do you convince them? The second would be, how well do you convince them, sort of. So kind of succeeding on the first one is like, yes, you won the bet. But losing on the second one is like something goes wrong or something happens where you don't get the full absolute success reward. And then same with like a partial failure would be like you lost, but maybe you talked them into like giving you some of the gold back. Or anyway, so the first card is Risky Gambler, so risking all your gold. The second one is Helpful Bargainer, which is social event. roll a reaction interaction. So just would be rolling the 2d20, adding your reaction stat, versus a basic interaction roll of the event just against the event card. So it would be your opponent would be the one rolling for the event card. And then ambush, which is draw 3 enemy cards and fight those enemies. So drawing 3, obviously probably going to die, but just to see what happens, let's do that one. So we'll play that one. These will go back into the event deck, and we'll participate in that one. So my enemy cards, I will draw. So let's see here. This is gonna be tough because you're not gonna be able to see them. I'll scroll in. So these are gonna be really strong, it looks like. Yeah. So I have the Juniper District Enforcer, Fallen Mass, and a Swift Adder. So obviously there's no art, but this is just like there's gonna be, because it's like a city, as like as the first, as there's expansions, it'll be like different areas or whatever. But since this one is like mostly like a city based and like a forest based thing, I wanted to make factions like basically like rivaling gangs be sort of like a fixture of the creatures and stuff that you're fighting. That may, whatever, that might change if I'm playing for a while and it gets kind of lame, but I think it would be kind of cool to have sort of like that part of like having quests where you're helping one or helping the other, whatever. So in the bottom left would be like the gear, so how much you get. So if you defeat, if we were to defeat this one, then we would be able to draw 3 gear cards and pick one. This says 100, but it's cut off a little. It'd be 100 experience. We'd get 5 gold. And then the Fallen Mass is sort of like I don't know, like a massive like skeleton zombie kind of deal. Same thing. You get 1 gear for if you defeat it, and then the Swift Adder, like I don't know, some sort of snake kind of deal. I haven't had it added abilities to them or anything. Like the Swift Adder will probably have some sort of poison ability. The Fallen Mass, some sort of curse ability. Juniper District Enforcer. So the Enforcer is obviously going to be like the stronger of the faction people that are melee based. Yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, let's start with us. So we'll roll to attack. So a 12 and a 5, they'll roll for defense. So we hit, but they defend. So since we're just starting out, our attack would be everything is base 1s. And damage is base, everything's base 1. Attack, defense, and reaction is all 1, and your damage and block are all 1, and then your HP is 10. So fighting against, this is one of the things, like fighting against a creature, like an enemy that's really powerful. So basically any of these would have, like if they block, if you don't have an absolute success, the damage is, because like the Swift Adder has 1 block. So if we only do 1 damage and we succeed on the hit, but then on the block they have enough block to mitigate our attack, obviously that's not going to hit. So then it would go to the we're doing the Juniper Enforcer first. Roll to attack. A 9 and a 2. Ooh, that probably would have just flipped those cards. A 12 and a 4. So I completely dodged that. Got it. Then I'll attack the next one, Fallen Mass, with a 8 and a 6. And, oh, 8 and a 6. Yeah, so he fully blocks that. And then he attacks me. That's a low roll. Yeah, so I clearly block that. I would go on the last one. For the sake of just combat, because this is probably something that will take a long time, and probably wouldn't have been the card I would have selected if it were, if I was really playing, because I know I can't beat 3 things at level 1. I would have, that would be part of the strategy of the game is like, so when you draw those 3 event cards, you would say like, okay, later in the game, this card will be useful. Like having ambush would be awesome because like once you feel like, or even if we had just gotten 3 like super low level cards, which would be kind of part of the gamble of playing it. But if we know that we don't want or we're not ready for combat, you could just do another one and say it was like a possibility of getting a piece of gear. We could have, out of just a social interaction, then we probably should have picked one of those. But I just wanted to see how combat worked because I just want to do combat. So for the sake of it, I'm just going to throw these back in the enemy. I'm just going to fight one of them. Just the lowest level one, just for the sake of it. I don't remember if I... All right. 11 and 2. 18 and 4, so he wins that. 18 and 4. 10 and 7. So he would deal 1 damage to me. Probably could have like some sort of component. I should probably add something that will calculate how much damage that I've done. For now, I'm just going to use a dice. I'll use a d12. So I took 1 damage. He hasn't taken any yet. And then I'll attack. It looked like it was cocked, but it wasn't. 15 and 12. Damn. Okay, so this is already kind of good feedback. I would really like for them to feel a little bit quicker and like, okay, roll and hit. Maybe just the modifiers have to change a little bit. But yeah, I mean, especially if this is a solo event, like I could be doing this for like rolling back and forth for a while. I also think maybe for right now, I just put the vitality for everything, so like the HP. I put all of them to 10, like for all the creatures, all the enemy cards. So it is possible that could help because like if I had something like this have 1 HP, then any hit on it is going to kill it, or something low like 2 or something like that, where most likely any hit is gonna kill it. I think also because the values are so low, attack and defense, or like damage and block being 1 and 2, and like even the I don't know. Let me draw a few random ones. Got Fallen Mass again. Even these higher level ones that are meant to be pretty difficult are only 5 damage, 3 block. Like it, the intent is not to be these crazy numbers, but it does seem like a very much slower, less swingy than I was hoping. Yeah, I'm gonna do this for a minute and just see. Actually, let me time it. I'm gonna start a timer and do this real quick and see how long it takes for me to kill this. So I'm 2 minutes in, and it's 2 damage to 2 damage. I'm also wondering, one thing that could speed it up is an absolute success on defense. If you counterattack, that could be cool, because then it could reward defending well and also, again, speed up combat a little bit. So one of the mechanics that I want to add in, that I just haven't yet because I wanted to see sort of this, but I guess now it makes more sense to add it in. So you can do 2 actions per turn. So obviously you could use an item, which I wouldn't have an item this early in the game anyway. And you also, everyone in the every character would be like an innate spellcaster. So they would have that 1d4 or 1d6. I haven't really decided. I mean, at this rate, with how slow this is going, it probably would be a 1d6, but probably for the sake of just like working my way a little small values at a time. So say we'll start with the d4. So you roll the d4, and I got a 2. So you would compare the 2 to the enemy's defense. And so since it's lower, it wouldn't hit. But if it hits, so say I did roll a 3 or a 4. So I rolled a 4. So when you roll the 4, and as soon as you meet the either meet or exceed the threshold of the defender, it does the full damage that it has. But the theory being, as you get stronger, like as you level up, you would increase the size of the dice that you're attacking with. It'll be more consistent damage. But the idea being that main hand attack being usually bigger damage. The idea of having the 2 dice with the second one being the ability to defend is gonna make combat longer. I like the system. It definitely slow. Just comparing it to playing D&D, I think it is way slower because you're giving the defense a chance to overcome a lot. Especially, again, early game where the values on the block and damage just exceeding what you would have at base. So I don't know. The beginning of the game might just have to be slower, and I'll over time figure out how to make that a little bit more interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys sort of what the playtesting situation is going to look like for a little while. Again, I mean, obviously I'm going to play for a while and see how it goes and mess with things a little bit and see kind of what I can change up. But I'll end the video there and kind of just give you guys an idea of sort of what I had in mind so far for the game. And then obviously I didn't show a ton of cards, but we'll get to that as I play test a little bit more. Along those lines, if anyone wants to help me out with playtesting, like I have some friends that'll probably get involved, but once I get it to at least, a place where I feel like I'm not wasting your guys' time, I think I'm going to probably set up a Discord. I'll link it in this video's description. If not, I'll link it in the next one if I don't make it in time for releasing this video. I'm going to make a Discord, and that way, like, if anybody that's watching is interested enough that they want to like get in on the process with me, even if it's like you want to just go through this process with me because you want to create a game yourself, and then we can kind of figure this thing out together. And then that way, when you do yours, you can just hit the ground running and kind of see sort of what this process is like. Or if you're just interested in the game, whatever. Well, for whatever reason, if you're interested in helping me out with this, I'm sure I'll need multiple people, and because I don't want to burden anyone too much. So, yeah, I'll get that together as soon as possible. Hopefully by the time this video is out. Leave your comments, leave your feedback. I mean, you could tell me how bad this sucked, but I mean, I already know. So give me whatever feedback you think is necessary. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks guys.